I'll pop in. Zach, interesting space. What's the cost of your next steps? You don't think you had an ask in there.
Yes, I didn't have it on the PowerPoint, but it's about $8,000, 5,000 for manufacturing, 2,000 for software development, and around 1,000 for app development.
Okay, maybe I was missing that. And so all of the tags are powered?
Yes, they'll be powered by lithium batteries, to basically how watches are run today.
Okay. And who benefits from this? Like, how much does it cost a landlord to scan? Like, my company would have to pay. We pay a fee every year to get our extinguishers checked. Am I going to save?
Yes, so the it'll save fire extinguisher companies as well. It'll save them time and money, so they won't have to charge the customer as much as well. A little fee, but obviously everything comes with money anyway. So, but if the fire extinguisher gets jobs done more, then obviously we're making more money, so we don't have to charge as much.
Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Zach, I had a question. I think this is a great idea. I was curious if you could talk a little bit more about the competitors.
Yes.
And sort of how they're positioning their product, if you know kind of the price point, and then how is that influencing what you're thinking for your product?
Okay. I know Azurio Bird Dog, so I talked to a fire extinguisher company up in New Hampshire, and they use Azurio before, and it's a software that they have to go into an extinguisher. So you go into a building, they have to write down it all, and they have to go back to their shop and make sure that they put everything into information. So they don't have a location device. I know Engage does, so I was thinking about combining both. And the Smart Seal will be an actual device that is on the extinguisher itself, so it'll know when the extinguisher is being used, because right now we have little plastic seals that have to be changed every year. And if my device will be on the extinguisher itself, it won't hinder any pressure points, so you can be able to spray it all the time. It'll be just a reusable thread that'll attach to a sensor that when you pull the pin, you'll get notified where which extinguisher is being used and where why.
Okay. And do you have thoughts yet around, where you would kind of position your product compared to those two products in terms of price, or not yet?
I have a little idea. Obviously, it'll be a little small charge because the device itself, the extinguisher, will be a plastic device with a new screen, like an Etch-a-Sketch screen.
Yep.
Have too much components to that itself. However, the app, the software, I know that Azurio charges a big amount for their software. So it'll be a little fee to the app itself to put in a very user-friendly way.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Zach, so I think an obvious question to me is if you're kind of taking, it sounds like maybe some technology that's already out there and kind of combining it or whatever. Is there IP, or is it a risk of patent infringement? Have you looked into that at all?
I have not, no.
Okay. Well, just because the obvious thing is,
Yes.
you have a couple of competitors, you have to make sure you're gonna have to file some sort of provisional or something out of the gate anyway, and just something to look into, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Right, and I would echo Chris's comments that the IP side is going to be important on this, like for your own business protection, right? And some of that may be learning what is patented and how you may be able to work around that, and then maybe working to develop an idea that's above and beyond, right? That may be a bit of a different approach.
Yep.
And you know, because sometimes the best ideas come from where you're starting. Like, I see this and this, but if they exist together, it'd be better. But then where do we go upwards from there? So that's going to be something that we can dig into further.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, I don't know the space at all, obviously, but you might, if you're onto something, the more research you do, the more you're gonna figure out where you actually want to go, and it may not be where you think you want to go right now. I think, finding out what other customers think about these other two companies and whether they're using them, and you may find that there's a flaw in one of them, right? And maybe you don't want to actually mimic what they're doing, you want to improve on it or something. But I mean, you'll get there eventually.
Thank you.
Zach, the one thing that I think this is interesting because it could clearly save time in spaces, but I think if you don't have it yet, you ought to develop what's kind of the financial, how much money do you think it would save the inspection companies and the companies who are hiring the inspection companies versus the cost to implement? So like, do you have an idea of how much each tag will cost to put in place?
I'm thinking around $20 to $25, or sorry about that, about $10 for the system itself, and you put them on every extinguisher, and it'll be paid for by doing many different jobs, because you can go in and get out, and it'll just be very time efficient.
So the tenant who occupies the space generally has to pay for the fire extinguishers, right?
Yes.
And so if I'm the tenant, you're going to say, all right, you got 50 fire extinguishers. I want you to add $10 to every fire extinguisher. And I'm going to want to know, okay, I'm going to add that money to every fire extinguisher. How do I get that back? Right. And I guess I'll get that back in lower inspection fees.
Yes.
Okay. So I think modeling that, doing a little financial model about that shows where the money goes and how people make money off this and why it is beneficial to folks would be a good thing, more than just saying it's more efficient.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Iman or Kalila?
Yeah, I guess, sorry, I know this is questions and I've really just kind of had comments more than questions.
That's why we're here, right? We can make comments and questions.
Well, because, maybe he's not looking for advice, but, I mean, hey, if you figure out this system, I mean, there's a lot more things that are being inventoried than fire extinguishers, right? I mean, you could put this on a number of things, and maybe it becomes a lot bigger than just fire extinguishers, if you get the software right.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate the comments as well.
Okay, thanks.
General question. Is the GPS, that's just to know whether you're in or out of a building, right? You're not trying to look for actual placement within a building?
It'll be actual placement in the building, because I go into a building and my boss will tell me there's 60 extinguishers, and I go through the whole entire building and up and down, and I get only 50. And now I need to figure out where they are. People misplace them, or sometimes people steal them, because that's what sometimes kids do that. So now I need to figure out where they are. And I will also probably implement a system of, if it goes 100 feet from its destination, it'll send an alert out to the app to let the business owner or the fire extinguisher technician know that the extinguisher's moved out of its place.
Not to put too much of a damper on this, but just so you know, you might want to look at some other technologies, because GPS indoors is terrible. That's why when we see, like, you have your phone and you're in your building, you have this giant bubble all of a sudden that expands when you're inside versus when you're outside. So you could look, I mean, there's so many different ways you could do it, whether it's QR codes or different beacons or things like that. But just be a little bit careful of the GPS when you're inside, because I use that for my research, and you can't localize indoors with just GPS alone. You need something else too. So just something to think about.
Thank you.
And you have good resources at UMass Lowell with expertise in the field. So so we have that at our fingertips. All right, Zach, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate you showing your work, and it is super exciting. So congratulations on everything you've done thus far, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a
Thanks,
good
Zach.
one. Bye.